Emily Smith, welcome to the studio, welcome to the podcast. And I can actually say welcome to Liverpool.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I feel like we've got Southwest vibes, like positivity. You live in Bristol, but I know you're from Portsmouth, but I feel like people from the Southwest bring like this certain energy, which I can feel already.
Oh, thank you.
So you're the head of operations and service delivery at Adapt Digital. You're a workflow, project management and ops specialist. You help businesses streamline operations, optimize workflows and manage deliverables with experience across agencies, startups and enterprise teams. Your ethos is clarity, is kindness. And when you're not working, the people will find you running, cycling and enjoying good food. Is that you wrote it, so I'm hoping that's a good summary of who you are.
Yeah, it's on my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I mean, I am, I'm based in Bristol, but originally from Portsmouth.
Yeah.
I absolutely am a process and workflow nerd. I love all things process, workflow, project management. When I'm not working, I do enjoy running.
So usually I will pick a LinkedIn post that has sort of struck a chord with me. And I think, what made that individual write that? So this is the one I chose for you in your words. We recently ran a team session to reflect on our workflow changes. Since joining Adapt, I've been helping the team bring more structure to how we operate, establishing workflows, refining processes, and making space for regular feedback. Here's what the team had to say. Workflow is smoother. Retros give space for team feedback to be taken on board. That was music to my ears. I'm very pleased. We review our processes similar to how we would with clients, reviewing how things are going, spotting pain points, and together figuring out the best solution. Sometimes that's a process change, and other times it's a shift in technical approach. I'm doing a lot of talking so far, so hopefully I will hand over to you now. But I mean, from what, the very little we've spoke over the last few weeks in preparation for this, what triggered that post, and was it difficult to give yourself a pat on the back?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, and it is, I think most people do find it quite difficult to give themselves a pat on the back. I know I certainly do, but it's something that I'm trying to be more, I'm trying to, self-advocate more in terms of sharing more on social media, LinkedIn. And also it was just it was great to hear that from the team. And so I thought, why not? Why not shout about it? And I think there are so many different teams and roles that it's so normal to kind of shout about the wins. So for example, in sales, there's, there might be a sales, Slack channel, for example, when someone potentially wins a new business or a new opportunity, it's kind of shared about on Slack, it's shared about on potentially social media. And I think there's other wins, such as making changes to workflows and operating models, and then having that response from the team is definitely something to shout about. And so I think there are other roles, not just sales, but ops people, process people, workflow people, project managers, agile coaches that can also, there's also lots of great things to shout about. And so, that was kind of one of the kind of reasons behind that post. We had made some changes internally. So when I first started at Adapt, we started to kind of look at the way in which the team were operating on a day-to-day basis. And we identified some kind of challenges and pain points. And so there was work to be done on how the team operated. And so we then put the changes in place, and that was some of the initial feedback from the team, which was really, really great to hear.
Fantastic. So before all that, how did you get to the point, or what was the journey to being the head of operations and service delivery at Adapt? What came before?
Oh gosh, no, lots of stuff really. I mean, I think the journey for me really and started with if I'm honest, started at college. I think I took A levels in business psychology, English literature, a real mixture of subjects have always taken my interest. And business really stood out to me then. But I also liked the idea of looking at how things, good storytelling, but looking at how things got to the kind of output. So I always liked the kind of ideation, but then how do you take an idea and how do you bring it to life, and how do you spot opportunities and all of that stuff. And so when I was picking which degree to go into, I chose business innovation, which was and the rationale behind that was because I have a really strong interest in business, but I also at the time, could see that most of business had an influence of technology. And so, and even then, with the likes of, I think when I was picking that decision or had an interest in it, I think you had like the likes of Uber, for example, changing, business models by actually using technology at the forefront of what they offer. And so I saw myself then kind of going into a career that involved business and also technology. And so business innovation was something that stood out to me. And then I took a placement at Oracle, which is a tech company. And that
big ones.
Yeah, one of the big ones. And it solidified my my kind of interest in technology. And I ended up in regulation change.
Exciting.
Yeah. In the kind of tech space. And really that solidified a lot of my project management principles and frameworks and all of that stuff. And then kind of wanted a bit of a change, really. And so I came out of the corporate world and then have ended up in the agency space. That's how I ended up at Adapt. And what I do to support Adapt is really manage the internal team, manage the client relationships, improve our processes, improve our workflows, and continue to do that, really.
Yeah. And something you said there triggered a thought for the listener. When you say, or when one says from corporate to agency, what does that mean and what are the main differences? Because people might be going, it's all corporate. What's the main difference when you say I moved from corporate to agency life? What does that mean?
To me, it means corporate tends to be the function is potentially more internal. You're kind of you're serving a company, whereas agency, most of the time you're assisting a company serve clients.
Yeah,
it's probably how I would.
Yeah, is there a difference in culture and like day to day? Did you get more freedom? Like, is it?
Yeah.
Is it like Mad Men?
I would say there's a difference in culture. Yeah, I'd say agency is more, there is particularly, if the kind of smaller agencies, there is that kind of room to wear many hats, to kind of get stuck in and kind of do, assist in lots of different ways. Whereas corporate, I do feel like there is more structure there, and the role and responsibility tends to be more clearly defined.
Yeah. Cool. And in your mind, what makes a good project manager?
Oh, I'd say a good project manager would create a sense of clarity for the team, would make sure that the team, first of all, have everything that they need, so they can do their jobs to the best that they can do.
Yeah.
To support the team, to trust the team, that the team has the capabilities to get the job done, and you're there to support in that project management role, but also having a clear, I guess, vision of the project and making sure that everyone's aligned as to what that vision is.
Yeah, cool. I'm going to roll these questions into one because I think once I set you up, I think you'll just go. So, which is a positive thing because it flows really nicely. So, what are your thoughts on Agile in general? And then, because of your background and what you do, how important is process in terms of Agile? So I think that's a nice platform for you to tell us to impart knowledge on the listener, the watcher?
Well, I don't know about that. I'll try. I would say that it's quite interesting because it's kind of contradictory because Agile, technically, there is the kind of focus over people versus process. I know that's one of the key, I think, pillars of Agile. But from my perspective, the processes that you put in place create a sense of the capability to operate in an Agile way.
Yeah.
Like, for example, having your daily stand-ups, having your retros, having your refinement sessions, all of those things are some form of a process. And so by having those touch points and those processes in place, allow Agile to do its thing. And so without having them in place, would Agile be as successful or as easy to manage? I personally don't think so.
Yeah. I was listening to you on a different podcast, and you told the host you're making a cup of tea analogy.
Right.
Would you be able to share that? Because I think it brings it to life quite nicely.
I can give it a go.
Yeah.
If I can remember what I said.
You were talking about everything as a process and even making a cup of tea, and then you went through it.
Yes. Oh, yeah, of course. So this is, so this, gosh, I can't say that word, analogy, is to kind of help people understand that technically everything that we do is some form of a process. So that even goes down to making a cup of tea. And so making a cup of tea, if you go to click the kettle, but the temperature's not on, and then you put the tea bag into the cup of tea, but you haven't got a spoon, you've got to go find the spoon to then pour the water in and stir the milk into the tea, versus, you click the kettle and the temperature is perfect, the tea bag is there, the spoon is there, the milk is there, all of those things, technically there are two different processes that create two very different experiences. And so for me, my perspective of process is that by having a good process in place, you create a good experience.
Yeah.
And that experience, if you're thinking inside a business, that experience can impact the internal team, but it can also impact clients or external stakeholders. And so really having a good process is the foundation to internal and external experience.
Cool. I'm going to give you a trigger warning now, folks. If you don't like running, you're not going to like the next 3 to 6 minutes. Because you're so, I'm not going to say, I don't know you, but you like a process. Did you apply the same mentality into training for the Brighton Marathon? And if so, tell us about that. Or if not, how did you?
Yeah.
It's just it's my way of shoehorning that into the conversation.
I rate it. Yes, I very much did. Although I did kind of leave it up to Runner to do its thing.
Okay.
So there was a process, but Runner kind of figured out that process for me. And so that's because this was my very first marathon. Yeah. And so I'm still learning how to be a better runner. And so Runner was great to kind of build up that distance. But I think, there is, technically that's a process, right? You have, your formula to get to where you want to be. And so, I'd say there is kind of there is the element of process in kind of getting me to the marathon and the finish line. But you're also into your running, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you train regularly with running?
Yeah. So, this is where you've made me nervous now. I'm normally the one asking the question. I've ran. Well, I'm 35 now, for like 22 years.
Nice.
Was decent. I'm not going to say I was decent at a younger age, and then still do it. I think I've learned how to train as I've got older. So I do a lot. I do a lot of slower running now, or zone 2 is the cool thing now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I've dropped my ego because I was decent. I tried to keep that mentality of always wanting to. I've basically reset all my PBs because I'm not in the position anymore to run a 37-minute 10K.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm
Wow.
talking like years ago. So, but in my mind, that's what I was still aiming for.
Yeah.
And then I'd throw my toys out of the pram when I didn't achieve that.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? So I've sort of refreshed all of that now.
Yeah.
And I'm more about being match fit for life as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
I like to think I've matured. So a lot of lower speed. And then sometimes I'll ramp it up. But
I think running does humble you though, doesn't it? Like 1 minute you can be like hitting, like, you know, you could be hitting at that PB, and then the next minute you do the same run, and that PB is just so far away. And it's just, I like that about running. It kind of keeps you humble, because it's like, oh, okay, well that was achievable, and why is it not achievable now? You know, and sometimes that's what I really like about it. It just kind of keeps you. It kind of keeps
you on your toes. So the Brighton Marathon was your first. Did you do any like 10Ks? Like did you just go, no, I'm doing the marathon? Like I'm going to train for 20 weeks and not do anything else.
So I did do a couple of years ago. I did do the Great South Run.
Okay,
So I had done
the HMS Victory.
Yeah. So I had done that, and then I have done other challenges in between. Like I did something called the Cateran Yomp.
Okay, what's that?
Years ago. It was a yomp around the Scottish Highlands.
You're one of the few people who haven't been in the armed forces that I've ever heard use the term yomp.
Yeah.
So, but that's probably because you're from Portsmouth.
Yeah, Navy Town and all that. But yeah, it was like a 54-mile hike in 24 hours.
Oh, nice.
And that was tough. I think up until the marathon, that had been one of the longer challenges that I had done. But it was amazing because there was a lot of people from the armed forces there, and it was a lot of people, including myself, raising money for the ABF Soldiers charity. Just the people who were doing the yomp were just incredible, like just there, and the atmosphere doing it was it was a tough challenge, but it was really rewarding. Yeah.
Right. For those of you who don't like running, you've got through it. Let's veer it back on. So you've got an ethos of clarity is kindness, and as we were constructing this conversation, you mentioned you may want to talk about the importance of empathy. So, how did you come up with that ethos, and what do you mean when you say like the importance of empathy in the workplace?
Yeah, I think empathy, regardless of whether it's in the workplace or outside of the workplace, is just very important to have that trait. I think operating in the workplace and having empathy at the forefront is very important. But to me, that looks like, for example, in a stand-up, if someone couldn't deliver on something or is something looking at risk, then it would be about thanking them for being really open, because that's awesome to create an atmosphere where someone feels like they can be super honest about deadlines, and if something's unachievable, that's great, because some people can find that really tough. And so being able to create that atmosphere, first of all, kudos, but second of all, as anyone who's managing a project or is in a project, you want those conversations to be had, because you don't want to get to when the deadline is, or when the phase deadline is, for example, or whatever, and then find out. So first of all, creating that atmosphere is great. And that's created by having empathy, because it means in conversations like the daily stand-up, if someone comes and says that they, potentially can't deliver something, then thanking them for being open is awesome. But then how you handle that is also very important to creating empathy. So for example, having the conversation with them outside of the stand-up and just asking them what they would need to support that work to be moved through. So it's kind of approaching it with in a project management role, or someone who's managing a project or managing a deliverable, you'd want to approach that with with empathy, but also with a kind of really just a supportive mindset. What does that person need from you to be able to help them move that particular thing forward.
And does that go hand in hand with another note I've made here about managing a team from a coaching mentality? What does that mean?
A coaching mentality is really around the team member having all the answers, and it's about you asking the questions to help them find that answer.
Yeah. What type of questions?
Questions like, what would you need for this? What do you think is the best solution? What options do you think that we have? It's kind of those kind of questions that then really help that person take ownership of the work and then come to the potential conclusion.
And has that ever not worked? Because I know from my experience, sometimes people just want an answer.
Okay, yeah.
Like, has anyone ever gone, well, I've come to you because I want help. Just give me the answer instead of trying to coach me. Because that's what's happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, people have said, I don't want to be coached out of this situation. I just want an answer.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened to you?
Not yet, no. But I'm sure it probably will.
Yeah.
And that's totally fair enough. If that's what that person needs in that moment, then that's you're doing the best thing to support them with what they need by giving them the answer in that moment.
Yeah.
So not yet, but I'm sure it will.
Yeah. Let us know. On my notes, I've got the importance of workshops and productive decisions. Without I don't want to put words in your mouth, but yeah, why are workshops important in order to make productive decisions?
Yeah. So they can be really fruitful because they create a conversation between the team, they create engagement, they create alignment. And one example of a form of workshop is in the process space is by doing some form of as-is mapping.
Yeah.
So that might look like having facilitating a workshop with a client or internal team, and really it's up to the team to kind of give you the answers, really, and it's up to them to kind of have that conversation and figure out and how it might look like. For example, would be if you're looking at a process, you may document the as-is process. So that might look like a Miro board with lots of Post-it notes, or an actual physical whiteboard with loads of Post-it notes, and you kind of rattle through what the process is and all of the challenges and pain points around that process. That might look like delays to deliverables, bottlenecks, delays in sign-off. Maybe that then there's an impact to the client, stuff like that. That's all then documented around the anchor points of the process.
Yeah.
So where do those challenges and pain points come up? And then that's anchored to a particular point in a process. Once you've got all those challenges and pain points, you can then start to figure out what changes you might want to make to that process to resolve those pain points and challenges. And so that's one workshop that we do at Adapt. And so the kind of importance of a workshop really is around having everyone in that room who needs to be there to then having everyone in that room. Maybe that is the whole team, maybe it's team leaders, but really it kind of gives everyone a voice in a particular change that might be happening. And that tends to help with, first of all, getting the right solution. But second of all, helps to create alignment, which then helps to create some form of adoption to that change.
Yeah. What's your opinion on icebreakers?
Oh,
because we're talking about workshop.
I personally like them.
Yeah.
But I know that some introverts or introverted people may not like them. So,
what's your favourite one?
I don't know. I don't have a favourite in particular. What's your favourite one?
I hate them.
You hate them?
No, people would be expecting me to say that. I don't hate them. I hate it when I don't like it when people don't read the room.
Yeah.
Because not everyone wants to play a 50-person game of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
I think done well, they can be powerful if there's not enough thought behind them. And I think whether people just forget, I am a big fan of going, everyone's got a right to pass.
Mm.
Instead of, and yeah, I think that needs to be more upfront. Everyone's got a right to pass. Feel free. No one's going to think anything less of you if you don't.
Yeah. And then gives people.
Maybe it's just me.
No. I get what you mean. Like they're not always favoured by people, and like reading the room is key. Like you wouldn't want like a game of 50, like doing rock paper scissors. Like,
I think that one particularly just scarred me because someone asked me to run an icebreaker once, and that's like a quick Google, and because there was loads of people, and that was the first one that came, and I had to facilitate that, and it was chaos. So I think I'm just scarred.
You're like, never again.
Yeah. And because you're the agile, or I'm the agile coach. Oh yeah, you just do a quick icebreaker. Fuck off. Icebreak that. But not everyone should take my lead. We were on the phone the other day. You said 2025 has been a year of putting yourself out. And you alluded to it earlier on, but putting yourself out there a bit more, showing your work out loud. What was the motivation behind that? What do you hope to get? Like, what was the hope? What was the hope?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more around, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, where you kind of do a lot behind the scenes. And I think with social media nowadays, why not share some of that? And so for me, 2025 has been more around being a bit more vocal about the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And stuff outside of work, like running, really, and just kind of putting that out there a bit more. And one of the awesome things about doing that is that you then, first of all, you could potentially, help someone if you share a bit of advice or a bit of experience or an anecdote or whatever. That then, someone could really resonate with that and go, oh, awesome. And then you've helped someone, and you might not even realize it. And so I think that's a really good thing about putting yourself out there, but also connections, right? You could put yourself out there, and then I did a post on LinkedIn about running, and people were reaching out and telling me about their running experience and running tips and stuff like that. And then I've kind of connected with these people and had conversations around running, and even yourself. I think I've come across your LinkedIn, and we then had a conversation and stuff, and now I'm sat doing this podcast, right? And so by putting yourself out there, you then, create opportunity to connect with more people and have some really awesome conversations and, good relationships from it. So, yeah.
What's next? In terms of the rest of the year, work-wise, running-wise, whatever.
Work-wise, it's really around continuing to fine-tune how we operate. There are, lots of exciting opportunities with AI. So that's definitely an area of interest. But also we have increased our service offering to offer process mapping workshops for businesses. And we've got lots of exciting things planned for the rest of the year. So yeah, it's good. What about you? What about your plans for rest of 2025?
Well, we have got a conference coming up on the 20th of October, 2025. Tickets will be in the description.
Everyone get your tickets now.
Yeah, as of today, we're down to the last 18. So once they've gone, we've got to start thinking about the user experience. I feel like it's a bit like we're planning a wedding. Like, all the little things we want to go well to make sure people have a good experience.
Yeah. You have to do a workshop maybe on it.
Well, the other two folks,
no icebreakers though.
Trying to get star tickets for that. This year's been just trying a bit of a fighting on all fronts, really. So
lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, and because I'm stubborn, some would call it pig-headed. I've always been all in on LinkedIn, but that limits what I can post about in terms of I can only post once or twice a day. So I've been trying to balance the conference, but also knowing, well, we can only do the conference if the business is doing well.
Yeah.
So trying to juggle those two things has been a good challenge and a difficult one. Yeah. And trying to get more eyes on this, which seems to be working. So yeah.
That's good. So everyone who likes the podcast has got to give it a share and a thumbs up. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, one thing I have stopped doing is asking people to subscribe because I don't think it makes a difference anymore. It's all about getting people to binge.
Okay.
So at the end of this, there'll be a recommended video that YouTube says. And it's about pointing people in that direction instead of going like and subscribe, because people will either do it or they won't. Me asking them to do it probably won't make a difference.
Yeah.
But if they see another video that answers a question that they've got, that's where you get them.
Ah, okay.
But like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, as this obviously is about you?
I can't think of anything right now. I don't think I have any initial kind of final thoughts. But other than this has been really awesome. So thank you for. I don't know if that's what you meant by final thoughts. But
where can people say hello, reach out? That you're comfortable with people saying hello and reaching out to you?
Yes,
I don't mean give you home address. But,
I would love that. If anyone's got any thoughts or questions on what Jack and I have spoken about, then yes, please feel free to reach out with them and say hello. Please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. That would be fantastic.
The link will be in the description, as all podcasters say. Thank you for making the trip up. Really informative, really interesting. And just thanks.
Oh, thank you for having me.